Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala amma ba'd. This is another new lecture of the weekly class. We are dealing on ahadith al-iman. Those ahadith that dealing with the matter of iman, which are related to iman. Okay, so we reach to hadith shu'ab al-iman. Shu'ab al-iman. Just before I start the previous lecture, we spoke about إنما الأعمال بالنيات. The actions are recorded and rewarded by the value of your niyyah. The only thing is that left to say is that, is a niyyah difficult or the action? Which one is more difficult? The niyyah is more difficult than the action. The niyyah is much more harder than the doing of thing, because the niyyah can be busy with many things. So that's why niyyah is more difficult to concentrate than the action. So that's one thing that we forget to mention about it. So today is hadith on Shu'ab al-Iman عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الإيمان بضع وسبعون أو بضع وستون شعبة فأفضلها قول لا إله إلا الله وأدناها إماطة الأذى عن الطريق والحياء شعبة من الإيمان. So this hadith that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioned عن أبي هريرة to do with شعب الإيمان, which means the branch of iman. They are different, the branches of iman, which scholars have written on this book, this matter, many books, and some they reach Shu'ab al-Iman more than what is mentioned in the hadith. The hadith is just simple numbers, but there are more things that could go into it, extra things. But as I said, there's many scholars, they spoke about this matter previously and they wrote on this, and maybe we could have a class on that book later on, inshallah, maybe after this book, inshallah ta'ala. So this hadith tells us, describes to us iman, and also what is iman, the iman itself, and what is it, the both side of it. So it tells us the iman, it can be in the heart as haya, modesty. The modesty is haya, that is in iman. Wa imatatul adha, it is an action of taking away something harm on the path of a Muslim. That itself is an action, so that's why it's a part of iman. وَقَوْلُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and saying La ilaha illallah, saying the La ilaha illallah itself is the saying by your tongue, and also is the action of your heart and the belief, i'tiqad of your heart. So that's why this hadith, it gathers and comes together all the parts of iman which we spoke about it previously, that it has to be by your tongue, by your action, as well as believing in your heart. So again, same thing. And also this hadith tells us that iman it increases and decreases, yazid wa yanqus. And also in the same time that it increases and decreases, there are things that increases it, and there are things that is a reason for it to be increases, and there are things that the reason is to increases. Okay, it affects. So Umar bin Habib says, Al-Iman yazidu wa yanqus. Qila wa ma ziyadatuhu wa nuqsanuhu. He said that iman increases and decreases, and they asked him, what is it that increases and decreases? قال إذا ذكرنا الله وسبحانه حمدناه زاد وإذا غفرناه نقص. If we rememberize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do a zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it increases, and when we don't, decreases. So this is Ibn Abi Shayba, he mentioned it in Musannaf, in his Musannaf, which is one of the greatest books of Islam, Musannaf Ibn Abi Shayba. So this hadith tells us many things, and one of those things are iman is many things, is not just one thing. There are many things. It is a part of iman. It is a part of iman. It is a branch of iman. It is because of your iman that you do those things, so it automatically becomes part of the iman. So like Bayhaqi, like we said, his book is one of the greatest book on this matter and is very long. And one Shafi'i Sheikh in all time, he summarized this book and he make it a little bit smaller. Again, in this hadith tells us that the action is part of iman. Imatatul adha, taking away something from the path of a Muslim, is a part of iman, is an action. Imam Ghazali on this topic, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, which is one of the greatest scholars of Shafi'iyya and Islam and Muslimin, he says this by itself is a great rank of iman as well. Why? He said because if you are not a Muslim and you do not have an iman in your heart, you wouldn't bow down to pick up something and take it away from the path of the Muslim. He said this is itself is a part of iman. That's why you did that. If not, you wouldn't put yourself down on the ground and pick something up and help Muslim on to take it away from the path of the Muslim and help a Muslim. So he says this is a part of iman. This is a great part of iman. If you do so, if you do such thing, then know, alhamdulillah, your iman is in a good state. Okay? Of course, there are other things that you have to have it with this. It's not the self, but again, it is, he says, is one of the great things, shows that you're Muslim and you're mu'min. Like we said, the iman increases and decreases. So what is the highest rank of iman? Is saying the la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, because it is by that the lightness of a life, the lightness of a life after, the great life in a grave, and such things, all of those are because of the la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. That's why it is the first thing Ibn Bayhaqi he mentioned is the la ilaha illallah, the shu'ab al-iman. The first thing he mentioned, it was that one. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, afdalu dhikri la ilaha illallah. So also so la ilaha illallah is the best zikr, and also it is the main thing after shahadatul la ilaha illallah. After shahadatul la ilaha illallah is the first thing. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدون. So also another important thing is that, like we said, it is important to be aware of that helping Muslim, it is part of iman, and this hadith indicates that to us. And also we need to be aware of that Muslims should never ever look upon an action by what it looks like. Okay, you say taking something away from one path is a very small thing. What is this? You shouldn't never say that. You should always look at it as a great thing that you do. Value it by what Allah will give it to you, not by what you see it, by how you look at it. Value it by what Allah will reward you in a life after. So, and also al-haya, the modesty is something that is in the heart. Haya is something that is an action of the heart. Okay, is an action of the heart. Some people will say, what is the action of the heart? A'mal al-qulub, which we said in previously, is part of iman. So haya is one of them. And being scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khawf min Allah is one of them. Ar-raja and tawakkul and many other things that we mentioned in previous books that we explained in this masjid, in other masajid as well. Those are all the actions of the heart. Okay, this itself is the hadith that we mentioned. So we go to another hadith, we will speak about it, and that is the hadith عن عبادة بن صامت رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من قال أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله وأن عيسى عبد الله وابن أمته وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وروح منه وأن الجنة حق وأن النار حق أدخله الله من أي أبواب الجنة ثمانية شاء. So this hadith again is one of the great hadith that it gathered majority of part of Islam and majority part of Iman, we could say the correct way. The majority part of iman. And it is one of the hadith that the belief of Muslim, it's around it. It's around of this hadith. Majority of hadith could come back to this hadith. So that's why it is one of the greatest hadiths to do with this matter. What we need to realize in this hadith, why we again mention this hadith in different way, because we spoke about La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah previously, and we explained something. But in here, what we're trying to concentrate is to know what is La ilaha illallah. Okay, we said that to worship Allah alone and His asma wa sifat and the names of attribute, and know Allah is the creator by itself. But in here is the ilm bil mashhud bihi, i.e. knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one God, and also act upon that. Okay, so because why is this? Because there are types of people, they say that only saying La ilaha illallah you're in Islam, and some they say only knowing La ilaha illallah you're part of Islam, and some saying only by your heart, knowing in your heart, it is you're in Islam. So that's why some group of people, they said by their ideology and by their method of thinking and philosophy way of thinking, that's mentioned in their books, that Iblis is Muslim as well, is mu'min as well. Why? Because he know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knew Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He know that Allah is one God. He's a creator. But is that alone by itself is enough? No. Okay. Also, some they say even Fir'aun is a Muslim. He's a mu'min. He became Muslim. Why? Because he at the last point he realized something. But does that itself alone is considered to be a Muslim, to be Islam? Okay. No. To worship Allah alone? No. So that's why only one part of it is not that. To know it alone is not only that. It's to know it and believe it and act upon that. All three comes together. It's not only one thing. That's why, like we said, Iblis, they say Iblis is mu'min as well. A'udhu billah. So that's why some with their philosophy thinking, Yunani philosopher, they bring things to Islam that is not acceptable. Like I said, some they said only saying it by your tongue, like others they mentioned in their other books. We could come to it and speak on this matter for a long time. So Shahadatul La ilaha illallah is two rukun. Okay, to ithbat and also إثبات والنفي والإثبات. لا إله is نفي, لا إله is إثبات, إلا الله نفي. So you have to know that إثبات is to certify, to say and to accept that there is no God, only Allah.
Sorry, you take other way around. لا إله is نفي.
لا إله
is nafi.
Yes, is nafi. Is nafi, yes, sorry. لا إله is nafi, sorry. لا إله is nafi. والإثبات إلا الله. إلا الله is the إثبات, sorry, yeah. And also, when you say وحده is again إثبات. لا شريك له is تأكيد للنفي. Is again تأكيد للنفي. So that's why is to reject anyone to be worth of worship, only Allah. So when you say La ilaha, you reject, okay, you reject that word, anyone be worth of worship. And when you say illallah, is that you accept only Allah to be worth of worship. And also La ilaha illallah, we said again, there are rules and regulations of La ilaha illallah. And those rules and regulations is being spoken about in other books, but we say it by overall, is that you do not worship anyone, you do not make partner of Allah, you do not accept anyone to be God, and you do not accept anyone to worship you, and do not accept anyone to be agreed that you are greater than Allah, and such things that we have spoken about it previously, and they are in other books. Why we say all of this? Because there were people, they extended their belief of Allah in such matter that they made Isa alayhi salam the son of God, and some they extend more limited of making things God that is not accepted. So that's why the shurut la ilaha illallah, the keys of la ilaha illallah itself is like a key. When you have a key, there's a part of it, tooth of it, the teeth of the key. So same thing, that la ilaha illallah has the rules and regulation. Ruhum minhu, i.e. it is the ruhum minhu. What we need to understand when you say وَكَلِمَةٌ أَلْقَاهَا إِلَى مَرْيَمَ وَرُوحٌ مِّنْهُ, i.e. it is one of the souls that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created it. And also why say ruh minhu, i.e. it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is إضافة التشريف, they say it. إضافة التشريف, i.e. to glory this soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created it and gave it to Isa alayhi salam. It is the soul that is glory. وَأَنَّ الْجَنَّةَ الْحَقِّ, i.e. the Jannah is there. Again, some philosophy people in Islam, they say Jannah is not created, and Nar is not created, Hellfire is not created. They thought about it with their brain, that where is it? We can't see it. Because the philosophers, they have this ruling saying if you can't see or you can't feel, then this thing is not possible. And they go by on those hadiths, those tafasir, the ayats, they did tafsir of ayat by the philosophy where they make a mistake. The hadith, same thing. They reject many hadith, they reject many names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of those philosophy ways of thinking. So they rejected the nar and hellfire because of that matter of they can't see it. وَالنَّارُ حَقٌّ أَدْخُلُ. So that is another topic on this matter. We will stop here. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.